What is up? What is up, YouTube? I gotta say, the motivation is really high right now. I'm like an absolute beast for the content at the moment between this, TikTok, and my podcast. So thank you all so much for the support. It's very encouraging. Today, I've got an exciting video. I want to share with you some of my own personal collection. So far, I've pretty much just been talking crap, sitting down, talking about the state of the sneaker game right now, talking about fakes, but today I wanted to share with you some of my favorite sneakers. I will definitely do a full-blown sneaker collection video, but I thought in the interest of just keeping it short and pithy, I would take you through some of my favorite sneakers in the collection. Being an 80s baby, growing up watching MJ play basketball back in the day, Jordans are definitely my favorite thing. Like, growing up and stuff as a kid, I would always ask my dad for Jordans, but we could never afford to get them. So I usually had to get some kind of like knockoffs or bootlegs or something that kind of looked like Jordans, but they weren't Jordans. So I kind of grew up always wanting what I couldn't have. And now later on in life, now that I'm making some money, or I've been making some money, I've been able to grab those pairs that I couldn't get as a kid. At the moment, my collection, it's somewhere between like 100 and 150. I don't know, because I'm often like trading stuff and selling stuff off and then getting new stuff in. It's hard to keep tabs on like the number. It's always in flux, but it's maybe like, we'll just average it out around 120 pairs. I've got 100 pairs or so in this room, my little sneaker room. And then I've got about maybe 20 odd pairs, 30 odd pairs up in the loft. So my collection centers around mainly Jordans, but I also have a few Lebrons. Also love Kobe, have a few older Yeezys, got some Kyries, some PGs. In terms of other models, I've got some Adidas, got some New Balance stuff, some Bape stuff. I'm certainly not going to try to front and say that I've got an incredibly diverse, eclectic collection. I used to have a lot more brands, but over the years, I've decided to consolidate my kicks down to the brands and models that I like the most. So I don't have Jordans 1 through 14. I just have the Jordans that I like. I don't have all the Lebrons. I just have the Lebron models that I like the most. Same with Kobe's and same with Yeezys. Aother sneaker that I've had in my collection for ages are these. These are the 2009 Space Jam 11s. I got these in New Zealand, or back in Aotearoa in 2010 in January, not long after they released. These were the December 09 release. And I copped these for resale in Tamaki Makaurau in Auckland. And I've had these since then. These have been with me the last 12 years. I've taken them around the world traveling with me, worn them all over the place. And you can see they're oxidizing. They are starting to come apart a little bit on the upper. These will need to be re-glued at some point. You can see they're separating just there, that bit there. But yeah, this is a really sentimental shoe to me because this is the shoe that I really fell in love with when the Space Jam movie came out. I was so excited about these because it was a shoe that MJ didn't like wear on the court. He wore the Concords and the playoffs and stuff. And this was, almost like a really exclusive Jordan model that, didn't come out until 2000 or 01, whenever it came out, can't remember. But yeah, this is like one of the most sentimental shoes because when I copped this shoe in 2010, it motivated me to get back into collecting sneakers. I never had money up until that point, like throughout my sort of early and mid 20s, because I was spending all my money on traveling. So this is one of the sneakers that I would point to in terms of like what got you started into sneaker collecting, or what got you back into kicks, or what motivated you to start wearing and collecting sneakers. This was the shoe. This is the shoe. So I got these, and then this motivated me to get the other 11s. This model is like my favorite model of all time. Any sneaker, any brand, the Jordan 11 is my favorite because of what MJ was doing in these on court and in the movies. So my favorite Jordan model of all time, Jordan 11s. My next favorite Jordan model of all time are these, the Air Jordan 3, and this is my favorite colorway of all time, the White Cement 3. This is the retro 88 pair that came out in 2013. I can remember getting up early and going into Nike Town, London, camping out from like 5 a.m. I didn't do the overnighter, but I got up, got the first tube in, got into Oxford Circus about 5:30, and I was waiting in line for about 3-4 hours to get these. And I remember being so excited because this was the first shoe in some time that had been retroed with the Nike Air on the back, which if you were a Jordan collector between like 2000, or even if you were just interested in Jordans between like 2000 and 2015, you'll know that the retros during those years never had the Nike Air on the back. They had the Jumpman on the back like this. And the Jumpman on the back, it was kind of like lame for like Jordan enthusiasts, because what we really wanted is the original form of the shoe, which had the Nike Air on the back. And so this was, yeah, like a really awesome throwback retro. And this is my favorite Jordan 3 of all time. It's like my favorite Jordan color style of all time. It just gives me the Chicago home vibes. It stirs up all sorts of memories of MJ like battling Dominique Wilkins in the dunk contest, jumping from the free throw line. He had one of his best statistical years ever when he wore this shoe. And it's just beautiful. It's the simplicity of the design. It's the innovation using the air units with the visible window that obviously came from the Air Max 1. And yeah, I love the elephant print as well, which is super iconic. So this is like my second favorite Jordan ever after the Space Jam 11s. I love Jordan 4s. Jordan 4s I would rank personally for me as like the third best Jordan model after 11s. And then after 3s, it's Jordan 4s. And this is my favorite Jordan 4 of all time, the white cement 4s. Now, a lot of you out there, I'm sure, will probably disagree and opt in for the black cements, aka the breads, at number 1, which I can totally agree with and understand. And to a certain extent, I also agree with you. But there's just something about the white cement that really does it for me. You've got the white down here. You've got the gray cement midsole. Got the gray cement on the wings. You've got the touches on the toe box. And then obviously on the back tab with the Nike Air again. You got to have that Nike Air for me. I'm that old school collector type that likes the shoe in its original form. Youngsters these days might actually prefer the Jumpman on the back, which is like amazing to me, because for so many years, collectors and sneaker enthusiasts that were into Jordans were pining for that Nike Air on the back. So it's really funny to me to see kids that would rather see the Nike Air on the back than also would rather see the Jumpman on the back than the Nike Air. But listen, I love Jordan 4s. I think they're a really wearable shoe. It's one of the shoes that has probably made one of the most successful transitions from the courts to off the court in terms of like street style. They just look cool when you wear them with like shorts. They look dope with jeans, with jogging pants. They're just one of those shoes that kind of like you struggle to make look bad. Like even if your outfit is trash, if you're wearing a pair of Jordan 4s, particularly in a classic clean colorway like this, then your outfit can be forgiven just for how cool these are. So those are my top 3 Jordan models and my top 3 colorways. We've got the Space Jam 11, we've got the white cement 3, and we've got the white cement 4. Those are my top 3 favorite Jordans of all time. Moving on to something a little bit different other than Jordans, I love Kobe's. These are my favorite Kobe's in my collection. These are the Kobe 8s. Now, I copped these, I think back in like 2017, I want to say, off eBay, and I got them for a couple of £100. This is back when the Kobe market was pretty dead. Like Nike basketball sort of fell off around 2012, 2013 for real. So Nike basketball sneakers from 2013 onwards weren't really going for crazy prices. Nowadays, these shoes go for stupid money, obviously given the fact that Kobe's passed on, RIP to the Mamba. But what I love about these shoes is just how wild they are. Like these really are neck breakers. Like when you wear these, it's a real conversation starter. A lot of times people would come up to me when I would wear these in the gym and be like, hey bro, did you know you've got 2 completely different shoes on? Are you in your right mind right now? To which I would have to respond, yeah, they come like that. This is what they're all about. These are the what-thers. They're meant to stimulate these kinds of interactions where you're kind of like almost offended at how triggering these can be to your eyes. So I love these for that reason alone. They're conversation starters, they're neck breakers, they're bright, they're vibrant. They really give off the what-the vibes. So these are my favorite Kobe's. Plus, they're also really comfy. Like Kobe 8s, wicked comfortable shoe. Great shoe to do exercise in, obviously great shoe to ball in. So yeah, that's one of my favorite Kobe's. Another favorite are the Grinches, the 2010s. These are the originals. I've again had these for a long time. I got these back in 2015 as well, around that time. Again, an eBay purchase from overseas. And the fact that they retroed, I think, is really cool because it's one of the most iconic Kobe sneakers of all time. And the Kobe 6 is, I would say, probably one of the most, if not the most comfortable Kobe out of all of them. They are lightweight. They are supportive, they're rigid, they give great support and traction when you're performing athletic movements, dynamic movements. So Kobe 6, Grinch, that's like a must-have if you're a Kobe collector or a Kobe enthusiast. I want to share with you one more Kobe before I move on to a different theme. These are the Kobe 9 IDs. I can't remember the name. They're called like the multicolor fly knit ID option. It's hard to find these online. This was a Nike ID option that was available for like a hot minute, like a red hot minute. And you had to be really quick. You had to be hip to the release. You had to be online designing within a certain time frame, and you had to check out quick because they only had a finite number of these available or available to be produced. So what's cool about these is you see you've got the multicolor Flyknit upper. This particular release enabled you to use things like the golden swoosh as well as like the golden logo. I opted in for some Vault splatter. And because these are not only so beautiful, you've got the nice contrast with the carbon as well, they're really, really hard to find, this particular model. And so copying these for retail was dope, given the fact that they have now smashed up in price. Like you can't even find these days. Last Kobe I'll share. I said that would be the last one. This is the last one. This is actually the only custom shoe I have in the collection. This is a Kobe 9 Elite custom. You might remember the Kobe 9 Elites. They came like in a really high top fashion. And these were customized by a guy called Big A Customs, who basically just chopped them down and turned them into a low top version, making them more consistent with the Kobe 9 Elite low. But you can see they're not perfect in terms of like the shape, but my man did a really good job on those. And this was another really easy cop. I copped these for retail in the high top fashion, shipped them off to America. They came back like this, and I'm really happy. They glow in the dark hard as well, but it's a cool shoe. Kobe 9 All-Stars. All right, we are pumping through the sneakers. I've got a few more sneakers to share with you. These are, again, among all my favorites, but I want to talk about Yeezys. I love the older Yeezys, especially the Nike Air Yeezy 1. You guys might remember when Kanye did this shoe, or you might be too young to remember when Kanye did this shoe, but these take the midsole from the Jordan 3. You can see the Jordan 3 midsole, and you can see the use of the Jordan 3 midsole on the Yeezy 1. And this is an 09 pair, or something around 2009, but these are still wearable. Again, if I press down here, you'll see there's no separation. The midsole is still firm, which means these have still got a few years left in them, life cycle wise, in terms of their wearability. Glow in the dark sole, it's the Zen Gray colorway, and I really love these because they just remind me of a time where Kanye was kind of like coming into his peak. He was getting into his fashion, like design, and working together with Nike. I think he was the first non-athlete to be given his own shoe, whereas before Kanye, it was only like Agassiz or Michael Jordans or Scottie Pippens or Dennis Rodmans. Kanye kind of comes along and breaks the mold and gets a deal as a non-athlete. It was actually because of him not being a professional athlete that he was denied royalties for his shoes, which is one of the reasons that ultimately led to him divorcing Nike and them not being happy with him and him jumping over to Adidas. So yeah, the fact that Kanye couldn't get royalties for these is a big part of the reason why he decided to annul that relationship. The Yeezy 2, this is probably my favorite Kanye West sneaker of all time, all models, all colorways. It's probably these, the Platinums. I would also put the Solars right there next to these because I love the Solars, but this colorway, this model, this sneaker is just like the epitome for me. This is like my first grail, my first big sneaker that kind of made me feel like I was coming up in terms of my sneaker collecting. I got these for a great deal. I actually got them in a trade. So I traded a few pairs of sneakers to get these, and I got in on these at a good time in the market where prices weren't crazy. Like they're crazy now. They were crazy then for the time, but I essentially paid £700 for these in trade value. And nowadays they go for thousands and thousands. In this condition, probably not so much because I've worn these a lot. And again, they're still wearable. The midsole's still firm as, and you can see the conditions certainly used. There's a little bit of creasing, but this is probably the best Kanye West shoe of all time, and one of the sneakers I'm proudest to have in my collection. So in terms of Lebrons, I don't have all of them in this room, but I can share with you a couple of my favorites. The South Beach 9, wicked. I think when LeBron went to Miami, that was like a really awesome era for his sneakers. You had the LeBron 8s, you had the 9, you had the 10, and that kind of represents the time where LeBrons were their hottest. Like, these were actually hot properties. Same with the South Beach 8s. These are the OG South Beach 8s from 2010. This was kind of like the equivalent of your Off-White 1s back in 2010. These were kind of like your Union 1s back in 09 and 10 and 11 and stuff like that. So these are two of my favorite Lebrons because I like the shape, I like the bubble, I like the carbon fiber, and yeah, they're just sick. Like, the colorway is super dope. So those are a couple of my favorite Lebrons. A couple of my favorite recent release Lebrons are these, the LeBron Palmers and the Miami Night Lows, because when these came out back in the day, these only existed in sample form and were going for crazy money, like stupid money. Same with these. These were really rare. I think these were limited to something around like 500 or 1,000 pairs, the original Miami Night Lows. And so the fact that these have retroed and bricked have been a delight for me because I've been able to pick them up for cheap and yeah, enjoying having them in the collection. So there's a few of my Lebrons. I think my favorite Lebron model has got to be the Lebron 7, mainly because it borrows its aesthetic largely from the Jordan 11. This particular pair doesn't have the patent leather, but the patent leather is a feature on the Lebron that wraps around the bottom of the upper of the shoe in the same way the patent leather wraps around the bottom of the upper of the shoe on the 11 Jordan. I love the bubble as well, and this is probably one of the best LeBron 7s to come out in recent times anyway, the Media Day LeBron 7s. So there you go. Thank you for watching this episode, sharing some of my favorite kicks from my very first sneakers that I ever owned, or my very first Jordans I ever had, the Playoff 12s, to the sneaker that started my current collecting epoch, the Space Jam 11s, you know, my favorite 3s, my favorite 4s, some of my favorite Yeezys and Kobe's and Lebrons and SB's and Air Maxes. I'm looking forward to sharing more of my collection with you guys, but if you can for now, please like this video, drop me a subscribe. Don't forget to turn the notifications on so you can be alerted to when I post, so you can catch up quickly. And let's keep the momentum up, man. Let's keep rocking with this. I'm trying to grow the channel and I really appreciate your support in doing so. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.